Chapter 17. Back to home base. "We have to go," Kate said, loud enough for the others to hear. Without waiting, she turned and ran, followed by Carlos and Mac. Mac and Darien had become very close despite the age difference. The two seemed to help each other, with Mac providing the knowledge and Darien providing the youth to utilize what he was learning. "Hold it, Carter," Sierra said as she removed the binoculars from her eyes immediately after hearing the gunfire. She could see Carter rising to his feet to follow Kate and the other two. Reaching out for the blouse of his uniform, she held him in place. "We have to go help your friend," Carter replied with noticeable concern in his voice. Looking back in the direction Kate, Carlos, and Mac had gone, Sierra looked up at Carter. "Trust me, Kate will deal with that." Pulling him down by her side, she returned the binoculars to her eyes and looked back at the FEMA camp below. After a second, she addressed Carter again. "Who is that guy in the suit with the two heavily armed men around him?" Handing the binoculars over to Carter, she couldn't stop thinking about how he could let his friends and others he served with be held captive and do nothing to free them. "Where?" Carter asked. "Walking across the courtyard from the building holding the military veterans prisoner." The word left a sour taste in Sierra's mouth, knowing just what her brother had sacrificed for a country that now imprisoned those who fought for its existence. "Oh, I know who you're talking about, but I don't know his name." He handed the binoculars back to Sierra. "Shouldn't we get back?" "No. I said Kate would take care of it. Now tell me what you know about the man." Something about the mysterious guy bothered her as she watched him standing with his left side to her, talking to a woman in uniform with the cert patch on her sleeve. "Not much, just that he is very rude and creepy. He also showed up a day after the power went out with some UN soldiers and had a very bad wound on his face." Just as Carter was describing the man's face, he turned, and instantly Sierra put the pieces together. "Robert didn't miss," she mumbled, as a sick feeling began churning in the pit of her stomach. "What?" Carter asked, not able to hear what she had said. Although Sierra knew she was looking at the man who had killed Sawyer, she also understood that if Kate found out, she would charge down to the camp and get herself killed. "Nothing." Sierra didn't want to tell Carter for fear it would get back to Kate. "Okay, we're going to catch up with the others," she told Carter, while attempting to not care to know any more about the man she wanted to kill herself. Kate came to a stop just inside the tree line, not wanting to cross the open ground between her and the buses. Standing straight with a large oak tree between her and the bus, she spotted Darien hanging out the door of the bus and not moving, with half his body on the ground from head to waist. Kate wanted to run to him, as did Mac and Carlos, who tried, but Kate stopped them. She looked up and down the road for vehicles that may have shown up while they were gone, but saw nothing. Even though she didn't see anything on the road, he knew that didn't mean there wasn't one on the other side of the bus. Slowly, she moved around the tree, looking both ways for any sign of movement. She saw nothing but continued to focus on the bus as she moved forward, with Mac behind her doing the same. Kate could see the horses moving around in the back of the bus, and two heads bobbing up and down in the window where the prisoners had been secured. Halfway across the open ground to the bus, Kate raised her left hand in the air, signaling for Mac to stop, who repeated the signal for Carlos as he covered the rear. After a few seconds, she went down to one knee and leaned over, peering underneath the bus to the other side in search of another vehicle. Satisfied that there wasn't anything hiding, Kate rose and waved her hand for Mac and Carlos to follow. This time the movement was much faster, yet neither lowered their rifles as they closed in on Darien. Mac was becoming very impatient with the slow pace and wanted to run over to his young friend, but understood that Kate was doing the right thing. They wouldn't be any help to Darien if they were shot first. When they were only a couple feet away, Kate spoke to Mac without lowering her weapon or taking her eyes off the inside of the bus. "Check on Darien. I'm going to clear the bus." Mac lowered his rifle and stepped around Kate, grabbing Darien by both wrists and dragging him the rest of the way off the bus. Kate quickly moved onto the bus, staying low on the steps and leading the way with her rifle. As soon as she was at the top step, Kate stretched out, keeping close to the floor and aiming her rifle down the aisle, prepared to fire. "Don't shoot!" two of the prisoners hollered in fear. Kate could see they were still secured and spotted the third in a pool of blood on the floor just a few feet away. Not trusting a word they spoke, Kate kept her weapon pointed at them as she rose to her feet. She looked around the bus and again outside, not wanting to be surprised by unseen attackers. Slowly, she moved to the first prisoner, who was obviously dead with a small knife still in his hand. Even though she could see the large hole where the bullet had exited his back, she still gave him a kick in the head to make sure. "I have one dead in here," Kate called back to Mac and Carlos. Before moving over to check the other two, she ordered, "Let me see your hands." Quickly, the two raised their hands as much as they could, jerking on the straps that held them in place to prove they presented no threat. "How is Darien?" Kate felt that the area was secure, and from what she could tell, it was just the one asshole trying to be a hero. "Breathing, but he has a good-sized knot on his head. Should be okay," Mac informed Kate. Now it was time to get some information. "What happened here?" she asked the two prisoners. Watching them, Kate wondered how such men made it into any branch of service when they couldn't answer a simple question without looking at each other for suggestions. "Look, I know that dead asshole back there was your mouthpiece, but if you don't answer my question soon, I will make sure you can never be asked once again," Kate said in a conversational tone while making sure they had a clear view of her rifle's muzzle pointed at their heads. "It was the corporal. He had that small knife in his sock," the first prisoner said while shaking his head. The other continued, Yeah. After cutting himself loose, he charged your guy. Your guy kept telling him to stop, but he didn't. And when he got too close, your guy shot him and was knocked backward. Then he fell down the steps." Kate wasn't sure if it was the truth, but it sure sounded like it to her. Outside, Sierra and Carter approached the bus. "Is he going to be okay?" Sierra asked as she approached Carlos, seeing that he was keeping watch as Mac took care of Darien. "Yes. It looks as if he hit his head, but he should be fine. Help me get him back on the bus." Carlos knew that they might not have been the only people in the area who heard the gunfire. Sierra locked her hands around Darien's ankles, while Mac picked up his shoulders. After placing Darien on the bus, they disposed of the dead corporal's body by simply throwing him out the door. None of them felt a need to say anything about just leaving his body for the wildlife. They thought it was people like him who caused the mess the country was in now. For that, they had no sympathy for the man. "Okay, I say we head back to the armory and inform Karnak of what we found. Any objections?" Kate asked the others, even though she felt they all had the same thoughts. "Yeah, Darien may need more medical attention," Mac replied. Sierra stayed quiet on the matter, lost in her own thoughts of the man she had spotted at the camp. "Sierra, what do you think?" Kate asked her once more, as she laid her hand on her shoulder. "What? Yeah, sure. I agree," Sierra responded, attempting not to show the anguish she was feeling by letting Sawyer's murderer live another day. "Something wrong?" Kate had noticed that she was acting a little peculiar, but wasn't quite sure what it was about. "Oh no, just wondering how we are going to carry Darien on horseback." Sierra knew they would be taking the bus, but thought it a plausible reason for her inattention. "Carter here will drive us back, and it shouldn't take more than a few hours, as he has been traveling the area," Kate explained. Sierra was satisfied that the ruse was successful and happy that she wouldn't have to carry it out for days of travel back to the armory. Kate gave instructions for Carter to take the easiest and safest route to the armory, even if it took them longer to arrive. After the bus had started moving, Kate focused on security, placing Sierra to cover the driver's side, Carlos to the rear, and Mac on the passenger side, as she stood in the front. They all knew they were each responsible for keeping an eye on the two prisoners tied up in the back with the horses.